This is a storyboard of my presentation. First, some preliminary remarks, then I will present those two studies. It's just I asked some people for today. It's not something that will be published in big journals. And then I try to figure out what is a good manager and what is a good business school. So, preliminary. Why can't we just go on with business schools as it was? I found a very valuable and thoughtful article in the journal Responsible Management Education for a Sustainable World from Thomas Tillich. And he found out that business schools have to transform themselves fundamentally because, and he cited here these points of criticism, why schools are not so well actually. They are too market-driven. There is this tyranny of ranking, as he calls it, and then research and education as well are not so useful for the practice, and then it comes the really hard point, teaching and propagating amoral theories, which goes directly to financial and economic crisis. It's a hard set of points for business schools. So we leave that for the moment, and I explain what was my what I did for the last 17 years with ÖBU, which is the Sustainable Business Network of Switzerland. It was 24 years ago, founded by Oikos at the University of St. Gallen. The actual president is sitting in the public, Alex. And nowadays they have more than 400 member companies, which encompass about every 6th workplace in Switzerland. And the common goal is to drive towards sustainability as well as strengthen competitiveness. And since the 2013, ÖBU is also a partner of the World Business Council of Sustainable Development, and this organization has a list of 10 rules, and these 10 rules for sustainable companies is one more source of my wisdom to present what I'm presenting here. I show you 3 of these 10 rules. First is about the conviction that sustainability is not a burden, but the basis for long-term competitiveness. In rule number 6, we find the prerequisites of doing good business and support sustainable development, such as accountability, transparency, etc. And in the final 10th paragraph, we see that cooperation is the solution, is the magic word to sustainable businesses, that confrontation is counterproductive way to do business. But even with the collected wisdom from ÖBU and from World Business Council, I started to think that my guess about what is right and wrong for management and business schools would not be enough. So I thought, why not ask those who have to know it? And so I sent an email to 20 business leaders I knew from ÖBU, and I asked them if they employ managers from business schools, graduates, and if these people are crucial in sustainable development in the companies, and if they would wish something from business schools to do other or better. It were from SMEs to small, big companies that I sent these emails, from 50 to 1,000 staff members, most of them manufacturers, including watches and chocolate, from trade, and also one bigger consultancy. To people did not react at all, and 2 were on vacation, so I had 16 answers, and those who answered gave really ample feedback. Obviously, I have hit a nerve. So, what were the findings? The main feedbacks, the first one is SMEs do not recruit graduates from business schools. And also in the bigger ones, there were only few of graduates, and then these were not necessarily in leading positions, but for example in brand management, in controlling, etc. So in Switzerland, I see it's still the engineers who run the country, the companies. To Ernst, I asked myself, what for are we investing so much money in these business schools if they only go for big global companies or consultancies? Strange. The second point is everybody stressed to that. Sustainability is something of the heart, is something from the personality. To be able to contribute sustainability in a company, you have to have an intrinsic motivation. Schools can help, but it's a question of personality. And I read this quotation: we have a staff with management education, and we have people who drive towards sustainability. I'm afraid I see no correlation between these two aspects. Most curricula are still mainstream oriented. Third point, but still people think schools should provide knowledge about new concepts like circular economy or other sustainable growth concepts and show business cases. This was really one of the big points from responsible companies. So this was the first study in a sample of sustainable companies. I thought, okay, let's have a look at the mainstream economy. So, because it was just 3 weeks ago, something like that, I had not much time, so I thought this is a nice source for mainstream companies. NZZ Executive is the supplement for job advisement of the NZZ, and on the front page you find every week a serial with 33 questions to some very important person, not chosen for sustainability or something, just very important person. People have to answer to these 33 questions. 2 of them are relevant to our topic today. Is management education state of the art? And where would you change the focus in training of leaders? People have limited space to answer these 33 questions, so they choose where to give more room for their ideas and where to keep it very short. So about a third did not properly answer to these 2 questions. So there were something like 100 who did, and of these 53 made some link to sustainability. Then the findings of this unsustainable sample were same as with the other sample. By far most mentioned aspect was the personality, the human factor, vision, passion, integrity, are the prerequisites of a good leader. The second one is the schools are concentrating too much on theory and short-term solutions. Here I can quote the CEO of Jungfraubahnen, which is something like here in Grisons in the mountains. How do you call that? Seilbahn, yes. Some little train who goes on a very high mountain where very many Japanese tourists are going with it. He says, the hardest teacher is experience. Management has to be practiced, not studied. And the third point, they stressed on that managers are behaving like employees, and we would need more entrepreneurs and not managers behaving like employees. And they do not act in the long-term interests of the companies for that. So what we see here is also from the unsustainable sample, we are not so far from our sustainable sample. It's just about the same kind of critics. So now I would make a short detour to behavioral economics, because this is my new field of action. And I want to remember you the World Business Council's message number 10, cooperation beats confrontation. For behavioral economists, coordination and cooperation are two complementary elements of collaboration. And in a good company, in a sustainable company, it is all about cooperation. But we see in management education, it's mostly about coordination, about efficiency. But this is not enough. Cooperation needs a personal engagement. It requires the acceptance of a common goal, and it is very sensitive flower. If not actively groomed, it may break down over short time, as Mr. Minnemeyer also mentioned. It's just the same observation. For businesses, that means they have to develop corporate culture that gives guidance to the employees and motivates them to engage themselves in a long-term and sustainable doing business. How do business schools now train managers who create and support such a kind of business culture? This brings me already to my final slide, and so we are picking up again the points, the collection of criticism from Thomas Dillig, and try to answer these points. What schools should do. At the beginning, we had schools are being too market driven, so there the answer is they should focus on both societal and business issues. Not forget the business issues. It's still about business, but there is more than this. And the tyranny of ranking is, from an outsider, quite easily to answer on that. Establish better rankings, establish meaningful rankings with the balance of sustainability issues, and perhaps you will fall down in the conventional rankings, but perhaps you will have, like Unilever, as Ernst mentioned, have new followers and new students and new professors who come to your school if you make a meaningful ranking. And for the research, it was criticized that it's not relevant and actionable. So let's drive empirical topics, your research, as well as with education, the same thing. Also there, it's evidence-based, so that it can be used in companies. And here, really, one of the most important findings is give business cases from sustainable companies a big place in your education. And Finally, the number 5 criticism is teaching a moral theories. That's just about the limit. It's not me who said this, it's also not Tillich who said this, remember that please. But still, if you try to give a broader view on things, to recognize side effects of what you are teaching, that could help. So to conclude, there is still hope out there that management education is management education for sustainability in practice is possible. Thank you very much.